Why did High Point wing Zack Austin decide to transfer to Pitt? How's his chemistry coming along with all of his new teammates with the Panthers? And why does he hate our food around here? We got answers to those questions and a lot more relevant questions than that on today's special conversation episode of the Morning Pitt here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. All right, welcome to the Friday edition of the Morning Pitt, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. You might have known something was up today when we did the mailbag episode yesterday. If you kind of regularly follow these Morning Pit episodes, we do the mailbag on Friday every week, but we've changed it. This is probably the second time we've moved the mailbag back to Thursday. We did it specifically because we had something special planned for Friday. The last time we did it was a few weeks ago when we interviewed Blake Hinson and had Blake Hinson as a guest on a special conversation episode of the Morning Pit on a Friday. And then we got it again this week. It's Zack Austin, who transferred to Pitt from High Point this offseason. You know the deal. youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's what we always ask you to do, so you don't miss any of our exclusive Pitt video content here on YouTube. We have these Morning Pit videos every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Sometimes we have special interviews like today. We have our weekly live show every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. We have press conference interviews and post-game highlights and all different kinds of things right here at youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. And you'll never miss any of it if you click that subscribe button. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com. So like and subscribe. We always ask you to do that. And of course, head over and check out the website, Panther-Lair.com, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.rivals.com, the most comprehensive source of Pitt sports news on the internet. Football, basketball, and recruiting. You find it all at Panther-Lair.com. All right, I want to get through the preliminaries. I don't want to mess around. You came to this video to hear from Zack Austin, and I don't want to delay that any further. Zack Austin, a little bit of background. He's originally from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We'll get into his history a little bit and his recruitment coming out of high school. We'll talk to him about that. He went to High Point, which is in North Carolina. He played for Tubby Smith for 2 years, and then after his second year, Tubby Smith left, or was fired. I actually meant to get the details on that, but his son, Gigi Smith, was hired to be the head coach at High Point, and that was last season. And Gigi Smith was the coach there for 1 year, and then he was fired. That led Zack Austin and probably a few of his teammates into the transfer portal. Very quickly, Zack Austin heard from Pitt. He took a visit to Pitt and committed to Pitt. Now he's going to be part of the Panthers. An interesting player, a 6'7" wing who can really do a little bit of everything. He can shoot, he can drive, he can dunk, he can block shots, he can defend, he can rebound. That covers about all the skills, right? We talked to Zack Austin about what kind of player he is, how versatile he is, and what he can bring to the Panthers this season. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time listening to me. I want you to listen to Zack himself. So please welcome to the Morning Pit here on youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com, Pitt wing, Zack Austin. And Zack, thanks so much for joining us. It's good to catch up with you for the first time since you got to Pittsburgh. You were just telling me you've been here since April or May or so you've been here for a couple months. How do you like Pittsburgh so far? How are you finding the city?
I'm loving the city. There's plenty of things to do out here. The food don't hurt me too bad, but the food is not as good as it is down south. But besides that, everything else is great.
You went the opposite way on that. I thought you were going to talk about how the food was so good. I mean, are you trying to find like good like North Carolina cooking here, because it's a different type of cuisine? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm starting to grow out of it. I gotta find something new. I finally found a couple spots that I like here, so I'm solid.
Okay. What's the best thing you found so far?
Piata's like the newest thing. Like I just found, like the little pasta plates. I like that a lot. I eat that a lot, like 4 times a week.
Okay. I wasn't sure if are the coaches showing you some places, or your teammates showing you some good places? Like who's taking you around town and being like, yeah, you should eat here or eat there?
Mainly my teammates. They just put me on the Benny's, the little pizza spot. And then Piata's, Dior put me on those. So.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of curious. Who have you been sort of spending a lot of time with? I mean, like, are you you have a roommate or like apartment mate, or who you kind of been hanging out with since you moved in?
The good thing about this team, I feel like we all just hang out together. Like we do a lot of things, as a team. Like we was watching the finals together. We go places. We done went golfing and stuff like that. Honestly, like we got some people who stay away from everybody else. They got their own apartments and stuff, but I stay in Bridges, and like everybody in Bridges always hanging out anytime we get a chance to. So mainly like me, Bub, J. Lou, Marlon, Pop, the twins, Fed. We all just be hanging out doing stuff.
Nice, nice. Did that happen pretty quickly? Did that kind of come together pretty quickly with those guys?
Yeah, it came natural. And none was really forced with us. I feel like everybody just gravitated towards each other and just feel like everybody took everybody in as a brother.
So I want to obviously talk about how you ended up at Pitt and your decision to come here, but I thought we could roll the clock back even a little bit further. Coming out of high school, right? You did a year at Moravian Prep. I think that's in Winston-Salem, right?
It's in North Carolina. It's in Hickory though.
Oh, okay, okay. And then you went to High Point. What kind of recruiting interest did you have coming out of high school and then coming out of Moravian?
Coming out of high school, I went to Winston Prep. It was a good little public school. It was small though. It was 1A school. Coming out of there, it was just strictly D2s. It wasn't really D1s was hitting me up, but it wasn't where I wanted to be at the time. I feel like I can go D1 at least. So I started to figure out what we was gonna do. Played AAU that summer, still wasn't getting anything, so decided to take the prep school route. Went to Moravian because I knew a coach there from Winston. Went there, had a great season. People still wasn't really, looking. Wasn't too many schools really talking to me. It was High Point, North Carolina Central, and Purdue Fort Wayne. Those the only 3 schools that was really talking to me, and High Point was the only school to offer me. So it really was easy, coming out. You only got one offer, so I was like, I'm going to High Point. It was also a great decision though. It was close to home. You had Tubby Smith there at the time. Great legendary coach. So everything was just, it came together.
What what did you hear at the time? Like what do you think was like holding college coaches back from? Because I mean, now you're at the high major level. So I mean, there's something there. You obviously excelled in the Big South. I mean, what do you think held college coaches back when you were coming out of high school, or what did you hear?
I think for me, I think the quality of competition, because like I said, I was at a public school, 1A. So it was like it wasn't really too much competition at the time. And then when I went to Moravian, it wasn't like we was playing a national scheduled, as a national scheduled, So like we was just I feel like that's what really hurt me. And then at the time, like I was about 6'6", 6'5". I didn't grow an inch now, so and I was playing like the 5. So it was hard to, sell a coach on me being at a wing at that point in time. And I understood I didn't have the ability to have now. So
right.
It just motivated me to get better.
Sure, for sure. Like at High Point, over I guess you were there for 3 seasons. You had the 2 active years. How did they really use you? What was kind of your role on that team in the last couple of years?
Freshman year, actual freshman year playing, I feel like my role was just being out there, being active, especially on the defensive end. It was just anchor the defense, make sure everybody is in the right position. Talk, have everybody back, and then offensively, just do what you do. Pick and pop, get to the basket, show your athleticism. It was just really, I don't know, whatever they wanted me to do that night, that's what I did.
Okay. And you mentioned about playing for Tubby Smith. I mean, like you said, that's a legendary coach. I mean, he's one of the greats of the game. How was it playing for him, and what did you really learn from him about basketball and about college basketball and all of that?
I feel like it was great having him as my first head coach coming in straight out of high school. He really made me mature fast. He's old school. He's not gonna deal with the BS. He's gonna make sure everybody is on time, doing what they need to do, dressing how they need to dress. Like he wasn't playing with none of that. I feel like that really helped me mature as a man, first and foremost. And then basketball wise, he just taught me little things to just be better. Just get a little offensive rebound there. That's 2 extra points. Crash the boards, play defense, talk. It can really go a long way if everybody's talking on defense. It was just little things like that he just instilled in me to make me a better player.
I was looking back at these last 2 years at High Point. I mean, you guys, I think, won 28 games over those 2 years, 13 conference games. Obviously, we went through some struggles, some coaching changes along the way too. What did you learn about just kind of adversity and how to persevere? I mean, obviously, like we already talked about, you had to face some adversity coming out of high school and dealing with the recruiting process. But what were these last 2 years like for you, and how much do you feel like you grew from the experience of kind of some on-court struggles?
Yeah, honestly, it was real new to me. Coming out of high school, I was winning state championships, and even prep school, we won the prep national championship. So coming into High Point, I wasn't really expecting to lose. And then when it happened, at first it was just, caught me off guard. I'm just trying to figure out what am I doing wrong? What can I do right? But just sometimes it's just not your year. Sometimes the pieces don't fit like you thought they was gonna fit. And I just feel like that just showed helped me learn how to like you said, handle adversity. Just you can't just be down on yourself all the time, because if you do, you're not gonna get anywhere. It's not gonna get better. So I feel like you just got to keep going, keep chucking, and just hopefully, it gets better.
Your I guess it would have been your redshirt freshman year, right? 2 years ago. I was looking. I think you were the Big South Freshman of the Week 8 times. You were co-freshman of the year. You were on the all conference, all freshman team.
Yeah.
Obviously had a really successful year that year. How did that kind of translate into your expectations for this past season? And I don't know, did this past season live up to what you expected out of yourself?
Honestly, for me, I feel like I didn't live up to the expectations that I set for myself. First of all, as a team, we regressed, and that's what hurt me the most. I feel like we had the pieces. A couple things just didn't go our way. We started off with the best record in school history, 8-1, and then we went on an 8-game slide. So just feel like a couple of things just, could have went our way, could have changed, the season. But me personally, I think I went down in rebounds and didn't shoot the ball. I improved in, a couple aspects of my game, but overall, I just feel like I didn't take it as serious as I should have last year.
Okay. And I mean, I guess there were probably some lessons from that as well.
Yeah, definitely some lessons. Just, I didn't really like this basketball stuff. It's not we ain't gonna be able to play forever, so I can't take it for granted. That's the main thing I took from it.
So then, you get to this spring, you make the decision to transfer. Do you remember when you decided, like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go into the transfer portal. Was it still during the season, like late in the season, or was after the year ended?
No, I didn't really decide until after they fired, Gigi. And once that happened, I was like, at that point, it would have been 3 coaches in 3 years. And then that's just something like, you can't trust, a system like that. So I was like, it's better off me, put my name in the portal, see what I can go.
I mean, not to, I want to talk to you about why you ended up deciding to go to Pitt, but it was kind of curious. I mean, when you saw that they had decided to fire Gigi Smith, like you mentioned, I mean, what's your reaction to that? I mean, I think you got to be shocked, right? He was only there for 1 year, right? Because Tubby coached 2 years ago, and then they hired Gigi to replace him. I mean, what are you thinking when they go and fire him?
Honestly, I was shocked. I think a lot of us we wasn't really expecting that, especially from him being, his first year. And to the start we got off at, I feel like it really caught a lot of people off guard. It was really surprising. We had a team meeting after we lost in a tournament game. We lost on a Wednesday. We had a team meeting that Thursday. He was talking about us, coming back next week. We're gonna get back in the gym, work out. And then that Friday, we found out he gets fired. And now we just like, dang, like, what are we supposed to do at this point?
Right. Yeah. I guess at that point you're kind of thinking like you want to pick your next head coach, right? I mean, you're gonna have 3 coaches in 3 years no matter what. So you might as well pick it yourself, right?
Yeah.
Did you go into, so was it pretty soon after that you went into the portal?
Yeah. I think the portal opened like a week after, and I was like, after that point, I already made my decision. I was gonna put my name in there.
How quick did you hear from Pitt? Do you remember?
I think I heard from Pitt like that same day. I put my name in. I'm pretty sure it was definitely one of the first, hit my phone.
Did you have like a number of schools reaching out like that very day?
Yeah, it was too much. I'm not gonna lie. Like I said, like I wasn't used to, coaches hitting my phone and then out of nowhere just call after call after call. Like I'm in class, I can't answer calls. Like it was calling me during like 8 o'clock in the morning. I had a teammate last year who transferred to OSU. He told me about it. I thought I couldn't believe it. I didn't think that can actually happen to somebody.
It was a little bit, I mean, I'm sure you expected to hear from schools, but maybe not that many and that fast, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now what, before they reach out to you, I mean, is Pitt a school you're even thinking about, or like, what did you know about Pitt? What kind of awareness did you have at Pitt? Like, the day before you went into the portal?
Honestly, I didn't really know too much about Pitt. I knew, Cable was obviously the head coach here because, growing up in Carolina, who Cable is. He was assistant at Duke, played at Duke. He was about to play at UNC. Like, I knew who they was, as people more than coaches. So, but like the program, Pitt basketball, I didn't really know too much about it.
Did you, had you ever met the Capels or Milan Brown or Tim O'Toole, any of those guys before?
Brown actually recruited me in high school when he was at Charleston Southern. I mean, I'm not Charleston Southern, but College of Charleston.
Yeah, right.
So I kind of knew him a little bit.
Okay. So it was sort of meeting him again. So then you took your visit pretty soon after you went into the portal, right? It was like
I think like 3 weeks after. Yeah.
3 weeks after. Okay. So what were some of your first impressions when you first, you get off the plane, you're walking around Pittsburgh? What are some of your impressions?
Honestly, I was expecting to be way colder when I came up here. That was like the main thing. I was like nervous about how cold it was up here, but it really like caught me off guard. I didn't realize how like a city it actually was, like how big the city of Pittsburgh is. It's like so much things to do, and then like just them showing me the zoo and how rowdy it gets. That was just insane. It was honestly incredible. It's something I wanted to really play in it.
They Jeff Capel often says about like he feels like a lot of guys have an idea of what Pittsburgh is, and then they visit and they're kind of surprised that it's not maybe what they imagine. Was that kind of how it was for you?
Yeah.
And so
Definitely.
did you, when did it really hit you? Like, yeah, Pitt's the place I want to go. When do you think it really clicked for you?
Honestly, it clicked like probably like as soon as I left Pitt.
As soon as
I left,
or as soon as
like
you left?
I left Pitt and I got on the flight, and then no, I got to the airport and I called JC right back and I was like, yeah, I'm coming here. I'm about to cancel everything else and just shut it down.
I mean, what was it? What made you so convinced about it?
I mean, everything about the program was something I wanted to be in. Place where come in, be a leader, play for the Capels, play for a program like Pitt with the student sections that's right behind you, cheering for you, good or bad, like stuff like that is what I really care about.
Mm-hmm.
It just really attracted me at the time, and I was like, why not? And then growing up North Carolina, ACC, Tobacco Road, everybody only playing the ACC.
Right.
It just made it even better.
Did you have other ACC schools in contact with you, or like were you looking to visit any ACC schools?
I wasn't looking to visit any other ACC schools. Okay. The only other school I was going to visit probably was going to be Georgetown.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Pitt obviously had a successful season this past year. They were right at the top of the ACC for most of the year, or the end of the year, and won a couple of games in the NCAA tournament. But that kind of came after a bunch of years where they didn't do so well. It's kind of like the seasons you had there at High Point. What gave you confidence that wasn't just a one-off? You know what I mean? That they're going to be able to build on that success they had last year.
Just believing in the coaches and in the players we brought back. We still got Blake, second team All ACC, Federico, one of the best defensive big in the ACC. We still got the twins who's coming up. And then just I feel like putting me-ish and then the freshmen we got all together, I feel like it's just a recipe for success. You just put it all together, hopefully, God willing, no injuries. We can do the same thing we did last year.
Well, you list all those guys. What did the coaches tell you about how they see you fitting in, or what do you see your role being with all those other guys you just listed?
Just being, somebody that can go in, guard the best player on the opposite team, still can, not be a liability on offense. I can shoot the three. I can attack the rim if I need to. And I just feel like my athleticism, I feel like just fits perfectly on the team we have. Like we have a whole bunch of people that can shoot the ball. And then just me being out there, I feel like I'm a great cutter. I got a good feel for the game. I know what I need to do at, certain points in time. So I feel like I can just feed off them, and then they can just feed off my energy.
So if you're looking to defend the other team's best player, I mean, it seems like you've got some different options when you're, scrimmaging with your teammates, right? I mean, you've got some different types of players. You could be defending Dior, and he's sort of, that point guard is driving on you. You could defend Blake, right? Have you kind of matched up against both of those guys? I mean, have you taken on both of those kind of challenges?
Yeah, I done guarded both of them. And there have been days they definitely got the best of me, and then days I got the best of them. But that's basketball at the end of the day. If you're scared to play against the best players on the opposite team, then you shouldn't be playing.
Mm-hmm. And I think you talked about kind of being a wing. It seems like your role, but you don't often see wings who average 2 blocks a game. And I was really kind of curious about that stat. Like maybe like how does that come together? I mean, like what would you credit? Is it athleticism, length, instinct, technique, just sort of a feel for it? I mean, because how big are you now? Like 6'7" or so? I mean,
yeah.
Right. Okay. So you don't often see guys who are 6'7" averaging 2 blocks a game, right? And you don't think of a 6'7" guy being rim protection, but that was obviously what you provided at High Point. Where does that come from? How do you do that?
Kind of like what I said earlier, like being a 5 man in high school, I was just, in there just jumping, just doing stuff. Like at the time I had the guards, we had everything. We was like the best team in the state at the time. So I really had to do too much but block shots and rebound. I feel like I just carried it on to, college level and just used my, athletic ability and just me being, got a good feel for the game, my length, like everything you said,
Mm-hmm.
just using all of that, come over, help side, and, get a couple blocks.
So you're a wing who averages 2 blocks a game. Like you said, you can shoot pretty well, right? You're going to defend the other team's best guy. You can obviously, we've seen the tape, the highlights where you're athletic, you're dunking and all these things. You're kind of, I don't want to say doing everything, but it's sort of, and rebounding too. It seems like you're a pretty good rebounder as well. I mean, is there a player you try to compare yourself to or try to play like? I mean, who's the comparison point here for a guy with that wide a variety of skills?
Kind of like a Trey Murphy type, like a 3-and-D long athletic wing. I try to look at stuff like that. I look at a lot of like small forwards, pros, like those who do it on both ends on the floor. Look at Paul George. Look at LeBron, obviously KD, and just try to pick up something from their games. I know I'm not exactly them, but just trying to choose and pick and choose like which spots you wanted at, where you want to guard and player, send them which way, just stuff like that.
Right. We talked earlier about hanging out with the other guys on the team and how you've kind of fit in with them and the chemistry. What about when you guys have been playing together? It's a lot of new faces. Like you mentioned, Blake and Fetty and the twins are back, but there's a lot of new faces out there. The freshmen and you, and even Dior is kind of a new guy. You didn't really play any games with them last year. How's that coming together on the court? How have you felt when you guys are out there playing pickup or scrimmaging or whatever you're doing?
Yeah, when we first got here, we was playing pickup a lot. He's playing pickup like 3 times, 4 times a week. Now we're getting ready for Spain. It's more a team, just getting ready to put the offense in, working on defensive things. I feel like coming together, the way we're playing together is, it's not that bad. And like it's coming together naturally. Like we're all just feeding off each other. I feel like we all know everybody's game but at this point because we played so much pickup when we first got here. So I feel like everybody know what they need to do. Everybody know who they are. And I feel like it's just, it's going to come together.
Last year was the first year we all got to meet Blake and the twins, and they're definitely some of the more interesting personalities and characters we've come across. Has it been fun getting to know those guys? I mean, do they crack you up like they crack us up?
Blake and the twins might be one of the funniest people I ever met in my life. and KJ. I'm not leaving KJ off there. KJ okay. Up there too. He's the funniest people I ever met before.
Nice. All right, sounds good, Zach. Well, hey, it was nice to get to meet you. Appreciate you taking some time here, and we look forward to seeing what you guys do in Spain, and then once you come back and jump into the season. But have a great summer, have a great trip, and we'll talk to you again sometime soon. All right?
Yeah, appreciate you.
So some interesting thoughts there from Zack Austin. I thought he was really good, and I think his skill set is really, really interesting. He wants to guard the other team's best player, and I don't know, I guess last year that would be Nike Savandi would have been the guy in that role, taking on the defensive responsibility of covering the other guy's best player, of defending the other guy's best player. And it is unique, kind of like I said to him there, if you're defending the other team's best player in a scrimmage, a pit scrimmage, you're either defending Dior Johnson or Blake Hinson, right? And those are two very, very different players. But like Zack Austin said, he's defended both of them. And that really is interesting to me as far as what his potential is for this season and the types of players he can defend. If you can go from defending Blake Hinson to Dior Johnson, those are two different types of guys who can do a lot of different types of things, very different body types, very different skill sets. And if you're defending both of them, you're a pretty interesting guy. I got to say, really interesting guy. And Zack Austin might be quickly capturing the title of the most interesting man on this team, or at least the most interesting player in terms of skill sets, all the different things that he can do and the ways he's going to be used. It's going to be interesting. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. This Pitt team is going to look a lot different from last year's team, and not necessarily better or worse, but just different. I don't know. We'll find out about better or worse, after 30-some games. But they're going to be very different. And it's because of players like Zack Austin that they didn't have a guy like Zack Austin. They didn't have a 6'7" shot blocker, defensive specialist, 3-and-D guy who can jump out of the gym and dunk. They didn't have that guy last year. A lot of teams don't have a guy like that. It's a very unique type of player. And I'm really interested to see how he fits in with the rest of this roster, how he plays next to Blake Hinson, how he functions with Fetty or the Twins, how he works with these young guards. It's going to be really interesting. And then Ishmael Leggett, who's another guy who transferred in. It's going to be really, really interesting. And I'm intrigued. I'm very, very intrigued by Zack Austin and what he's going to be able to do for this team this coming season. So I hope you enjoyed that conversation as much as I did with Zack, and look forward to many more over the next year plus, however long it is. But thanks for tuning in and watching that. Thanks to Zack for joining us. We appreciate that. Thanks to everyone at Pitt for setting that interview up. And like I say, most of all, thanks to you for watching it. Thanks for watching these Morning Pitt episodes all week long. Hope you've had a great week. Make sure before you leave, you like this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then head over to the website for more Pitt coverage, Panther-Lair.com, Pittsburgh.arrivals.com. Thanks for watching the videos all week. I really appreciate it. I hope you've had a great week so far. Hope you have a great Friday ahead of you and a great weekend. We'll be back for another one of these Morning Pits kickoff next week on Monday morning right here, youtube.com/Panther-Lair.com.